Okay, so we begin again. Maitreya is responding to Vidura's inquiries, and he begins glorifying Vidura. And he talks about Vidura, how Vidura was born from the semen of Vyasadeva. So that's something discussed more in Mahabharata, that you all know about Vidura's birth, right? And Prabhupada talks about the Garbhadan Samskar, important for good population. I was with Jayapataka Swami one time in the Middle East. It was in Dubai. There were many devotees. Maharaj has a lot of disciples there. And he was telling them, you got to do Garbhadan Samskar. We got to get good devotees. So here also mentioned population. Birth control is not only vicious but also useless. Nowadays, countries, even here in India, abortion is so common. You get people coming, they haven't just done one abortion, they have 6, 9 abortions, incredible. So then they talk, Vidura, Maitreya talks about Vidura's being cursed, how he became Vidura, and the incident with Mandavya Muni. So you remember that, I think you all know about that. So Yamaraj got cursed to become a Sudra. And what was the rule? They made a rule that when you punish people, because Mandavya Muni said, "But I was only a little child when I was killing the insects. I shouldn't be punished for that. The little children, you can't punish them like you can punish adults. Sometimes you get children who are murderers. You get some young children, sometimes they'll kill another child. But they don't get punished the same way an adult gets punished. There's some laws about that. And so because of Mandavya Muni said, I was killing insects, but I was only a child at the time. So I shouldn't be punished for that. And I think from that time on, they made the rule that children won't be punished under a certain age. I don't remember the exact detail, how old it is. But generally, it's like that. Children, you have to be more tolerant. Of course, there was that other, before Prithu Maharaj, who was the king? Venu, yeah. Here comes cruel Venu. Venu, when he would kill the people he played with. He would just kill them if he didn't like them, or he just killed them. And he was the son. He was the heir to become the son of the king. And he's supposed to become. So people knew he's so cruel. And the father. That was when the father decided to take Vanaprastha and go off to the forest. And he said, if I had a son I was attached to, I would never leave home. But my son is so cruel, I don't want to stay, just go. He thought it's the arrangement of Krishna. So cruel Venu. And they have these rules like the king can do no wrong. They told me in Malaysia they have regions. The country is divided into regions, and the sultan of each state, different state, and the sultan is like a king, and he can do no wrong. And one devotee told me, he said that the sultan was playing golf one day. You know, he had a golf club, and he was trying to hit the. And what happened, he swung the club and missed the ball. And one of the people who were there, who was like one of the servants of the king, he laughed. So the king took his golf club and smashed him over the head with it and killed him. And you know, nothing happened to the sultan, because he's the sultan, you know. He could do things like that.
In which, where?
Malaysia. So I don't know how long ago it was, but anyway, he told me like that. Pretty amazing. These kind of things happen.
So we read earlier, Maharaj, also in the Manu Samhita, the children, but also women, and it also mentioned about older senior people that are not to be punished.
Yeah.
So is it meant that we should have different law for them also?
Well, Manu Samhita says a lot of things, you know, we can't follow everything there in Manu Samhita.
But this Prabhupada mentioned that. I mean, that was in first Canto, particularly.
Or probably it was in relation to Ashwatthama, was it?
Yes.
Yeah. Punishing Ashwatthama because he's the son of the Brahmana, the son of the Guru, so he shouldn't be punished. Yeah. Well, we do see some there are some differences there, you know, for women, how we punish women, how we punish men. Older people, there would be consideration. But generally, they have to protect society. So if they see that things are wrong, then they do have to punish. And women sometimes also get the death penalty. Sometimes women are, you know, hung, or in the US, and Malaysia also. There was a drug smuggling group, and there was 3 men and 1 woman. They all got hung because they were smuggling some drugs. They were all hung. So it happens. But there are sometimes exceptions also.
There was one lady who was the first woman executed in the U.S. She was conspiring to kill Abraham Lincoln, the president. And so she was the first woman executed in the U.S.
Oh, she was aspiring to kill Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah, there was 5 people.
Oh.
They got executed all?
Yeah.
Huh?
He said.
Yeah, all of them.
They got executed.
They all got killed. Oh. Interesting. Yeah, you see. So even though you're a woman, you're not exempt from punishment. And old people also should be punished. So here anyway, Mandavya Muni, he had cursed Yamaraj. So Maitreya knows about Vidura, he understands that he's Yamaraj. And he says in the next verse, text 21, you're one of the eternal associates of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And for whose sake the Lord, while going back to his abode, left instructions with me. And so he's revealing the exalted position of Vidura, that he is such an elevated soul. And so he said, that's why I'm going to describe to you the transcendental potency of the Lord. How he creates, maintains and annihilates. So he speaks. The Lord is described by different names. Before the creation, Prabhupada mentions, before the creation there was no Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, no Karanadakshaya Vishnu, on the Purusha avatars. There was only the Lord. In the beginning of the creation there was only the one Supreme Lord. So everything came from him. The material world wasn't present at that time. And then Maitreya describes it. Maitreya is speaking now. He's describing the creation. The Lord felt imperfect. He felt like a husband without his wife. The material energy was dormant, whereas the internal potency was manifest. So he felt imperfect without his plenary and separated parts and parcels. There was only the one Supreme Lord. So he wants to feel some relationship, some pleasure. It's said like Lord Nrsingadev, after he killed Hiranyakashipu, he took Prahlad and he sat Prahlad on his lap. And so at that time the Lord experienced something of Vatsalya Bhava, having a relationship with Prahlad. And then in future incarnations you see he comes as Lord Rama and Lord Krishna, and he enjoys these things more. So the process of creation is going to be described. The Lord wanted to create the cosmic manifestation to give another chance to the conditioned souls who were dormant in forgetfulness. Right? The sleeping condition, material existence, they're sleeping. So then, so the external energy is known as Maya. Through her agency only the entire material manifestation is made possible. Everything comes from Krishna, but the energy is originally spiritual. The Lord glances over it, creates it, and impregnates the living entities into the material energy. So the material nature is moving under the direction of Krishna. So Prabhupada quotes a verse from the Bhagavad Gita. The material nature is not independent. It's moving under the direction of the Supreme Lord, Krishna. It's all going on under his direction. and then describes how the creation comes about, that the Lord impregnates the living entities. Under the influence of the three modes, and by the influence of eternal time, the living entities appear. Right? This is described, that the Lord glances over the material nature, and that glance of the Lord impregnates the living entities into the material nature. And elsewhere it says the Lord Shiva carries that glance of the Lord. Lord Shiva is also helping there. So the material nature cannot produce living entities simply from the material elements, but the living entities are impregnated by the power of the Supreme Lord. The impregnation is performed by the first Purusha, by Mahavishnu, Karanarnavashayi Vishnu, simply by his glance, right? Just like Lord Varaha came from the nostril of Brahma, Lord Nrsingadev came from the pillar knocked by Hiranyakashipu, and so in the same way the living entities are created, just put into the material nature simply by the glance from Mahavishnu. Because after the previous creation is over, the living entities are all they go back into the body of Mahavishnu. And then next creation they come out of the body of Mahavishnu. So they're in the body of Mahavishnu in the unmanifest state. And then they come out of Mahavishnu's body for the next creation. So Prabhupada discusses about the nature of this, how the Lord can do this. The main point is to understand they don't come just from the interaction of the material elements. We say life comes from life, not from matter. And so that is, of course, always a big subject matter to discuss with the scientists, to try to convince material scientists that life doesn't come from chemicals. Prabhupada encouraged the Bhaktivedanta Institute devotees that they should preach to the scientists that life comes from life. So His Holiness Bhakti Swarup Damodar Maharaj and other people like Sadaputta Prabhu and many other scientists in our movement, they're doing that work, trying to preach to scientific people, trying to convince them about the origin of life. Well, the material scientists, of course, they have their theories. You have people like, who is it? That Stephen Hawkins and so on, big atheists, professors in Cambridge University, and they will say life comes from the black hole or something like that. You know, they have so many theories about the origin of life. So why are the living entities put into material life? Why are they impregnated into the material world? For their enjoyment. We all want to enjoy, right? Krishna likes to enjoy. We also like to enjoy. So Krishna gives us a material body for our enjoyment. And if we don't come to our senses and come to spiritual consciousness, then Krishna puts you in the unmanifest condition. Just like before the beginning of creation. So you take body, we try to enjoy, and then we put back again into Mahavishnu. We have to remain in the body of Mahavishnu a long time, then the next creation, then take another body. So then Maitreya brings up the subject matter of the Mahatattva. You've heard about the Mahatattva? Yes?
Yes.
What's the Mahatattva?
It's the basis of everything. Well, after the Pradhan, there's the Mahatattva.
What?
So after the Pradhan, there's the Mahatattva.
What is Pradhan?
It's the
The unmanifested stage of the Mahatattva. So the Mahatattva is the manifestation, right, of
the three modes, equal balance.
Karna Vishnu glands. The glands of Karna Vishnu on the Pradhan.
The glands of Mahavishnu, that's the living entities. But the Mahatattva, this Mahatattva, what is it actually? It's the conglomeration of all of the elements of the creation. Everything is there. It's sometimes one devotee described it, he says it's like the khichdi. You know, when you get the khichdi, rice, dal, potato, some sabji, you know, it's all there, it's all in the khichdi. And so Mahatattva, everything, all mashed together.
Is that what they call the primordial soup? Is that what they call the primordial soup?
Primordial soup. Well, I don't know. It's a scientific term, the primordial soup. Sometimes, they talk about the primordial soup, the origin of life coming from the primordial soup. You could, maybe it is, I don't know exactly how they're describing.
Scientists believe it was just a bunch of chemicals in a soup, and then they made the first cell.
Yeah.
That thing came from the sky.
Anyway, the sum total of matter, everything, it's called the Mahatattva, and it became manifest. And in this Mahatattva, the Supreme Lord sowed the seeds of universal manifestation out of His own body. So Prabhupada writes quite a few things about the Mahatattva. He said it's the shadow of pure consciousness, the germinating place of all creation. It is pure goodness with the slight addition of the mode of passion, and therefore activity is generated from this point. From this point, activity is generated. So then we said Mahatattva contains everything. So the Mahatattva differentiates itself into many different forms as the reservoir of the would-be end. The Mahatattva Mahatattva is chiefly in the mode of ignorance, and it generates a false ego. So the false ego also comes from the Mahatattva.
How are we supposed to understand Prabhupada says Mahatattva is our shadow of pure consciousness? We hear it's in the mode of ignorance. I guess the shadow of pure consciousness is mode of ignorance.
Yeah, the shadow of pure consciousness. Mahatattva, or
we hear it is the pure goodness with a slight addition of material mode of passion. But we also hear that it's mode of ignorance, chiefly the mode of ignorance.
Yeah, I know. Well, some places it's coming in Prabhupada's purport, other places quoting from the verse. So from the verse it mentions, it's coming from it's in the mode of ignorance. Although it doesn't seem to be stated there in the word meaning. If you look in the word meaning, I'll have to look up Bhanu Swami's translation of this and see what Bhanu Swami has to say about it. Bhanu Swami, he's got his book on the Srimad Bhagavatam has the commentaries of all the Acharya, the commentary of Baladeva Vidyabhusan. But in the word meaning, it says, yeah, guna, chiefly the quality of ignorance. So, you see, Prabhupada is put somehow into this, chiefly in the mode of ignorance. But the word is simply guna. In other words, modes of nature. Prabhupada wants to add something, a particular meaning. So he's put there chiefly in the mode of ignorance. Then in the purport again, 28, Prabhupada said, Mahatattva, the medium between pure spirit and material existence. The junction of matter and spirit, wherefrom the false ego is generated. So the false ego, the ahankar, that is very powerful. And the ahankar can be in the mode of goodness, passion and ignorance. And different things are generated from the false ego. So everyone, we have that false ego, it's the binding force of material existence. We all have that false ego, we identify with this body, with this material world. And conditioned souls were given facilities to try to rectify this false ego. But Krishna does not interfere with our independence. Krishna gives us independence to choose. Choose Krishna or Maya. We choose Maya, then we're under the false ego. We're in different modes. And we choose Krishna, then we're controlled also. We're controlled by the internal potency. So the next verse describes false ego is represented in different modes: goodness, passion and ignorance. And from goodness, then what comes about? Goodness, false ego, eternal time, and the Supreme Lord produces the mind. The mind comes about from the false ego in the mode of goodness. So, Prabhupada describes the thinking of people in each mode. He said people in the mode of goodness, they're thinking everybody's God. And they laugh at the pure devotees who are engaged in serving the Lord. And those who are in the mode of passion, they try to lord over the material nature. Engage in different activities. And then people in the mode of ignorance, they simply identify with the body. So all the activities are centered around the body. But Krishna is so kind, he tries to help us. He presents the Bhagavad Gita. So text 30 describes the different products of the different modes. That's important to know. That the false ego is transformed into mind by interaction with the mode of goodness. False ego in the mode of passion is transformed into what? The intellect, yes, the intelligence comes from false ego and the mode of passion. And false ego in the mode of ignorance produces the senses. Yeah. So, false ego in the mode of goodness also produces the demigods. This says the senses are products of the mode of passion and false ego. But the intellect also, certainly in Kapila Shiksha, they say the intelligence comes from the mode of passion. Here it just simply says the senses. So that false ego, thinking we're the controller, thinking everything is done by our power. Right? False ego, Ishwaraham, Aham Bhogi, the demon thinks, I am the controller, I am the enjoyer, I am perfect, I am strong. This is all due to false ego. So we have to hear about the absolute truth from the proper source. And then text 32 goes into describing about the different elements, how these elements are produced. And of course the process of creation is always from subtle to gross. So the finest element is, what's the finest element? Ether. The subtlest element, ether. Prabhupada was reading, somebody had given Prabhupada a book, it was called Aquarian Gospel or something. And it said there, it was a Christian book, you know, it said, in the beginning was the Word. And the Word was God, and the Word was God, and with God. And Prabhupada read it, and Prabhupada said, oh, this is the same as our philosophy. He said, we also say, in the beginning was sound, because sound is present in ether. In ether, there is only sound. There is no taste. There is no touch. There is no smell. There is no form. In ether, there is only sound. So the Bible, this biblical statement was, in the beginning was the Word. And Prabhupada, this is what we say. Creation began with sound. Of course, sometimes the impersonalists, they say, Om. Everything comes from Om. Right? The sound Om, and everything comes about from that one sound of Om, the Omkara. So sound is the finest element, and sound is there in ether. So the sky is a product of sound. Sound is the transformation of false ego in the mode of ignorance. So Maitreya said, the sky is the symbolic representation of the Supreme Soul. Those who are egoistic in passion and ignorance cannot conceive of the personality of Godhead. For them, the sky is a symbolic representation of the Supreme Soul. Just like you studied the universal form, you know, materialistic people, they're not able to conceive of the form of the Lord in divinity, the divine form, but they can think of the Lord in the universe. It's the universe. It's all part of the universal body. So here also, the sky is a representative of God, the Supreme Soul. And then after sky, then the next element to be created. After sound, the next element.
Air.
Yes. With air there will be touch, right? Put the fan on, you can feel, the wind blows, woo, you can feel the cold, right? You feel the touch of the wind. When the wind blows, you can feel it. So that's the nature of the wind. It has the element of touch. Is there sound also? Yes, you can hear the wind. Sometimes you hear the wind blowing. You can hear the sound it makes. So sound is there and touch is there. But there's no taste. There's no aroma and there's no form. But there is sound and there is touch. Now, the creation as is presented in our Srimad Bhagavatam is very systematic. It's very clear. You don't find such a clear explanation of how things come about any other place. You know, what do they say in Christianity about how creation came about? Are you from a Christian background?
Yes. 7 days.
Huh?
In 7 days.
Yeah, right. God created the world in 7 days.
6 days.
Right? Huh?
6
6 days.
6 days and 7
right?
days.
Rest.
7 days is Sabbath, right?
Doesn't say if it's the day of Brahma or not.
God moved across the water.
Mhm.
Generated.
Yeah, they have a very brief explanation of creation. But you can see in the Vedic, here in the Vedic knowledge, how it's so systematic and so clear how the elements are created. And it agrees with a lot of scientific thought also. You know, although the scientific thought is always impersonal, but they do recognize things come about from sound. You can use sound to create. Sound is a very powerful element. People can go mad because of sound pollution, the noise of factories, the motor cars, in India all the motorbikes, you know, so much noise pollution. But there can be also sound purification. And sound can also cure disease. They have also these therapeutic medicine. You listen to this music, it will cure your disease. They have so many CDs, recordings like that. They encourage you. Therapy, listen to sound. And you get ultrasound. Ultrasound can also work on the skin. Have some skin internal problem. Ultrasound can heal. The sound is a very powerful element. Alright, so you get sound, and then from sound you get the air. With the air there is touch, and then after that,
Fire.
next element will be
Fire.
right, fire. Yes. And with fire there will be a form, a big fire or a little candlelight. They each have their own individual forms. So these forms are all there. And with that form there's also sound and there's also touch. Here they talk about electricity, the perception of form transformed into electricity. When the electricity was surcharged in the air and glanced over by the Supreme, at that time, by a mixture of eternal time and external energy, there occurred the creation of water and taste. So how did water come about? It came about in this way. It's all explained. Electricity was surcharged in the air and the glance of the Supreme. And then along with eternal time and the external energy, and then you get water, the taste of water, and finally then you come up with the final element. The grossest element is earth, which has the primary quality of smell. The aroma of the earth. The one company, they're selling perfumes, they call it earth scents. They have scent, the different oils, perfumes, they take it from the earth. It's all coming from the earth. So you can see very systematically the 5 different elements of material creation are there, and it's all done through the Supreme Lord. We have to see behind everything, there's the hidden hands of the Lord. It's not just happening by chance. All due to the touch of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So then we hear about the controlling deities of the above-mentioned physical elements. And so they're demigods, and they're empowered expansions of Lord Vishnu. And they're going to offer prayers. Because they're supposed to do different functions, but they're not able to perform their functions. So they're offering their prayers to the Lord. Devotees, they're devotees. So when they need help, they want to become empowered to do service for the Lord, they will naturally pray to the Lord to help them. It's important for us also as devotees that we also pray to Krishna, help me to do this, help me to distribute these books, help me to do this, write this, whatever, so many duties you have to perform. Maybe you're cooking, dressing the deities, whatever. You have to be empowered, right? We need that Krishna Shakti. And here also, the deities of the above-mentioned physical elements are all praying. They're going to offer their prayers to the Lord. That they're going to pray to Him to guide them, to help them. So Prabhupada talks about how people, they think, some people, they say this is all mythology. They don't believe that there are such controlling demigods. But Prabhupada said actually they're all very good devotees and they're given these responsibilities. So we should understand the position of the demigods. That we're not controlled by these demigods, but at the same time we do have to respect them. I used to think, when I first became a devotee, I was taught, these are Rudraksha, these are the beasts of Lord Shiva's people, and we would throw them away, we wouldn't touch them with them. not good, you know. we didn't have a lot of respect for Lord Shiva because we thought, oh, these people, these followers of Lord Shiva, they're all in the mode of ignorance. No. But over the years we learn more and we hear more from Srimad Bhagavatam, and we understand more about the position of Lord Shiva and how he's actually a great devotee, and how just some people who are in the mode of ignorance, they may approach Lord Shiva, but it doesn't mean that all of Lord Shiva's followers are in the mode of ignorance. He does have also his own line of disciplic succession, right? What line is that? Huh? Rudra Sampradaya? Not Nimbarka. Nimbarka is the four Kumars. Nimbarka is the four Kumaras. They worship Radha and Krishna. But Lord Shiva, Vishnu Swami is the prominent Acharya. And we often see that, who is it? How is it present today? Huh? Vishnu Swami? Where is that line of disciplic succession?
Bhakti Mark.
Is it Pushti Mark?
Bhakti Mark.
Huh?
Bhakti Mark, no?
What?
Bhakti Mark, no?
Well, they're all Bhakti Mark.
No?
All the four Sampradayas are Bhakti Mark.
I think the Pushti Marg, I thought
Pushti Marg.
the Pushti Marg was the Nimbarka because they worship Radha Krishna.
No, not Nimbarka. Pushti Mark, not Nimbarka. Yeah, they do worship. They don't worship Radha and Krishna. And Pushti Mark, they worship Krishna as a child. They worship him as a little child. Their worship of Krishna is done like that. They're, treating him like a baby, and offering different milk sweets, and they will cook things like that, which are very easy to digest.
That's coming from Vallabhacharya, correct? The Pushti Marg?
Yeah, Vallabhacharya. Okay. Anyway, the important point is while we respect the demigods, and certainly we should respect Lord Shiva. Actually, Sanatana Goswami was a great devotee of Lord Shiva, and we should offer respect to them. Lord Shiva is the controller of false ego. So if we have trouble with our false ego, as we do, we can take shelter of Lord Shiva, and he can help us to conquer over the false ego. The Prabhupada said demigods are usually worshipped by people who follow the other paths like jnana and yoga and karma. In other words, impersonalists and meditators and fruitive workers. So these people generally worship the demigods. But devotees, we don't worship the demigods. But we have to we respect them. And you can read Lord Chaitanya went to demigod temples. He went to Meenakshi, there's Meenakshi temple in Madurai, and he went to Shivakanchi and different places where there were Shiva temples. He would go there and he would offer respects. And so we also go to the different temples. We can also visit them and we offer our respects. But at the same time, we understand their position, that they're not the Supreme Lord. But they're servants, they're empowered servants. Prabhupada gives an interesting example there in the purport. He talks about how the mango tree and the nimba tree are both there on the side of the river Ganga. So they're both getting water from the Ganga. And so the mango tree, the fruits from that are very sweet, but the nimba tree is very bitter. But they're both getting water from the same place, but they have a different nature. Nature of the mango is sweetness, that's due to its own karma. And the nature of the bimba fruit is to be very bitter. So in the same way, you've got people who are demons, who are envious, who are the lowest of men. So Krishna puts them into various demoniac species of life. So demigods like Yamaraj, they have to deal with these demonic-like persons who are always trying to disturb the situation within the universe. So Yamaraj puts them into different hellish conditions. So text 39, the demigods begin offering their prayers. And what are they praying for? What is their problem? You come, demigods, they come and pray, they have something, they want something, right? You want something, what do you want to get? What do the demigods want to get? What do you think they want to get?
Empowerment.
Yeah, empowerment to do what?
To do their service of maintaining.
Yeah, they've got some function, universal function. The Lord wants, they're supposed to, because who are these demigods? They're the agents for the different elements of the creation. They're the they're in charge of like there's a demigod for the earth, there's a demigod for the air, for the water, and they're given that each responsibility. They have to do different functions as a service for the Lord, but they're not able to do them, so they've come to the Lord to ask for His help. And when you want something, the best thing to do is you don't just come and say, I want this, give me that. What do you come and do? You go to your mother and say, oh, Mommy, you're so nice to me. You take such good care of me. Oh, Mommy, I love you so much. Can you get me a new mobile phone? Right? You have to know how to nourish the mother, to keep her happy, to please her. So the demigods have come to ask the Lord for something. So first they glorify the Lord, and then they will ask what they want. So they describe the Lord's position, how He's like an umbrella, and we're situated under the umbrella. So under the shelter of the Lord, He's protecting us. So in this way the sages offer their respects to the Lord, to His lotus feet. So without accepting the shelter of the Lord, then you can never get free from the difficulties of material life. But the problems of material existence will always be there until you actually take shelter of the Supreme Lord. And Prabhupada mentions that you may do a lot of austerities and tapasya, You may give a lot of charity, you may do so many yagyas, but if we don't take shelter of the Supreme Lord, then we will never get free from the miseries of the material world. The problem, the miseries of material life. So we should appreciate the demigods, that these living entities are given this responsibility in overseeing the creation, so they have an important position. So they describe nature of the material world, 3 kinds of miseries. But if you take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, then they're by taking shelter of the Lord, then you can be free from these miseries, or you can at least overcome them. Miseries will still be there, but if you have the shelter of the Lord's lotus feet, you won't be disturbed by them. You'll be able to continue to go on without being excessively disturbed by them. Prabhupada writes in the purport there, the argument, unless one has proper knowledge, one cannot be freed from material miseries, is undoubtedly true. But because the lotus feet of the Lord are full of transcendental knowledge, acceptance of His lotus feet completes that necessity. Right? We may think, oh, knowledge, then I need to cultivate more knowledge, gyan. And we see also in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna talks about 4 kinds of people who come to him, right? Which one is the best? Yeah, why?
Because he has knowledge of the absolute truth.
She's like
But what's the problem with gyan?
proud.
One is still obsessed with their own. They're not developing pure love yet.
Well, the problem is it takes a long time to advance. Bahunam gyanamanti gyanavam prapajanti. After many births and deaths, one who is actually in knowledge surrenders to me. So you advance very slowly by the path of knowledge. But if you take to the path of devotion, you can quickly come. And we find, Prabhupada quotes the verse here, that by doing bhakti yoga, you will automatically get Gyan and Vairagya. So, but we should understand that Gyan and Vairagya, that is in relation to Krishna Bhakti. The Gyan will be in relation to Krishna. It won't be just some mundane knowledge, but it will be Gyan which is actually connected to the Supreme Lord, Krishna. And the Vairagya, the detachment, is from everything not in connection to Krishna. So it's all connected. It's not that the Gyan and Vairagya are something separate from Krishna. And Bhagavad Gita also says the same thing. Prabhupada quotes the verse from the 10th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. Dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mamapa. Right? I give the knowledge by which they can come to me. And then 41, talking more about the Lord's lotus feet, it's the shelter of places of pilgrimage. And some people take shelter at the Ganga. Why? Bathe in the Ganga, get rid of all your sinful reactions. Right? People are coming to Mayapur, they come to Mayapur, they go to the Ganga, take bath. Why? Not just to get clean, but to get rid of their sinful reactions. By bathing in Mother Ganga, then they can leave their sinful reactions there in the Ganga. Mother Ganga didn't want to come because she was worried about all the people coming who would come and bathe in her water and leave all their sinful reactions in her water. But they were able to pacify Mother Ganga. What did Bhagirathi tell her?
Devotees.
Huh?
Pure devotees will come.
Who?
Pure devotees.
The pure devotees, yeah, the pure devotees will also come and they will bathe in the water and they will take all those sinful reactions from your water. They will bless your water. So like that, the Ganges water, very powerful, and it can deliver people from sinful reactions. But the pure devotee, it says Ganges water purifies only after a lot of bathing. You have to take a lot of baths, it's not very quick. But the pure devotee, you just see him, you just see the Lord, and immediately you can get rid of all your sinful reactions very quickly. So that's the difference. But both River Ganges and the Bhagavad Gita give transcendental happiness, can take shelter of them. Prabhupada says, even Shankaracharya said, a little drop of Ganga water and knowledge of the Bhagavad Gita and you can get liberated, protected from Yamaraj. So even Shankaracharya is praising. And then the demigods then talk about hearing about the Lord's lotus feet with eagerness and devotion and meditating upon them. Then we can become detached and we can awaken transcendental knowledge. So Rupa Goswami has described similarly in Upadeshamrita, Utsahan Nishchaya Dhairya, like enthusiasm, patience, determination. Prabhupada writes, a little eagerness for hearing can surpass all other methods of attaining knowledge and detachment. Other methods, what would other methods be?
Speculation, philosophical speculation, mental speculation.
Yeah, maybe. Austerities, submerge yourself in the icy water up to the neck all night, right? And then in the summer, light fires around you and sit under the hot sun and meditate. That's austerities. These kind of things. But you'll advance very slowly. But if you hear a little eagerness to hear, that's a whole different world. And Prabhupada talks about how people get so attached to sex life, material enjoyment. So what's important is that two essentials for self-realization, knowledge and detachment. Gyan and Vairagya, they become manifest if we do devotional service to Krishna. So this is important. And then you can become dhira. You no longer disturbed by the material energy. And Prabhupada quotes Yamunacharya. The demigods continue, they talk about the Lord's incarnations for creation, maintenance and annihilation. In other words, the Lord is so powerful, He can do all these things. He can destroy the world, He can create 3 different deities, Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva. Lord Vishnu always takes the side of the demigods, but Brahma and Shiva sometimes take the side of the demons. And Prabhupada gives an interesting comment. He says, sometimes they do something in order to gain control over the demons. So Brahma and Shiva are actually devotees, but sometimes they do these things just to get control over the demons. Demigods talk about the nature of the false ego, how we identify thinking, I am this body, this is mine. So when we have that bodily concept, then we're not able to actually see the lotus feet of the Lord. But the demigods say your lotus feet are situated within their own bodies, within our own bodies. Although that we cannot see that, but the Lord's lotus feet are there within every living entity. We should understand the Lord is there in the heart of all living entities. So His lotus feet are also there. But people who are in the bodily concept of life, they can never understand this. So again, more benefits of hearing Krishna Katha. The best means to get release again from unwanted family affection. You see, Prabhupada mentions, he doesn't just say family affection, but he says unwanted family affection. And thus find permanent freedom in life. Get relief from all miseries. So if we're in misery, right, we should get some relief from it. So Krishna is offering that relief. Demigods continue, text 46. Offensive persons, their vision is too affected by materialistic activities, cannot see your lotus feet. But the pure devotees, they can see. So, people in the bodily consciousness, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Naham prakasha sarvatma yoga maya samavrita. I am never manifest to the foolish, the unintelligent. They can know me. Only the devotees can know Krishna. And Prabhupada says the greatest offense is to deny the existence of the Lord as separate from the individual soul, or to accept the Lord and the individual soul as one and the same. And then Prabhupada goes on to talk about the theory of reflection. And then continues, he gives the example about Magrari the hunter, and how the hunter was delivered by the mercy of Narada Muni. Due to their offenses, they cannot see the devotees of the Lord. The Lord's devotees, however, do not mind the offences of the foolish in their many gross and subtle bodily endeavours. The Lord's devotees continue to bestow the blessings of devotion upon all such offenders without hesitation. That is the nature of devotees. Can you think of some examples like that? Devotees where they were giving their mercy to others?
Nityananda Prabhu to Jagan.
Lord Nityananda to Jagai and Madhan? Yeah? Good. And yeah? Giving mercy to others, offenders. All the hippies, all the Bowery. What about in the past?
Rupa and Sanatan were famous for, the six Goswamis were famous for being close with the ruffians and with the Brahmins.
Loved by the gentle and by the ruffians. Yadira Dira Vajanak Yokiyakam. Yeah, they were loved by the gentle and the ruffians. And Haridas Thakur was beaten in 22 marketplaces, but he prayed to the Lord, please deliver them, don't let them suffer. They're only doing their job. Lord Jesus Christ was crucified like that. So it's the nature of devotees to be compassionate. You have to be compassionate.
Prahlad Maharaj to Hiranyakashipu.
Prahlad Maharaj
said to forgive Hiranyakashipu. He requested that Hiranyakashipu gets forgiven.
He requested Lord Nrsimhadev not to punish his father. Yes.
Magrari the hunter gave mercy by Narada Muni.
Yes, Narada Muni gave his mercy to the hunter to make him a devotee. Okay, we'll finish this chapter tomorrow. Just a few more verses. We're up to 40, 45, 46. We'll cover tomorrow. Don't want to go over time. It's already 3 hours. Alright, so we'll meet you tomorrow. We only have 4 chapters in the unit, so I think we can finish it this week. Chapter a day. Right, so, any questions? Anybody? No? Okay, thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Shri Prabhupada.
Carry anything there?